speakers here from Microsoft, Dee and Bala, and I've asked their content for about the next hour to be focused on AI, ML, automation, all these hot buzzwords, and really focus first on the Microsoft platform, the solutions it offers, so everyone understands this. Remember, these tools are very much applicable for both internally facing employee applications as well as externally oriented customer, contractor, partner applications. We see that a lot, and one of the reasons why there's so much interest in these solutions from Microsoft for everything from onboarding new employees to dealing with help desk questions to answering some preliminary inquiries from new customers before turning it over to live agent, is that the technology teams are excited about what Microsoft is doing here because they can reduce the number of vendors who are all offering similar services, thereby leveraging the Microsoft ecosystem and making it very easy for people to manage the applications and instead allow more people's time to be spent in architecting, designing them for maximum efficiency, productivity, revenue gains, etc. Does that make sense, Dee?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Perfect. All yours now.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dee Kumar, Cloud Solution Architect, Data and AI, and I work for Microsoft. And thank you, Ron, for giving the opportunity to speak at the Angel Beats event today. I'm really excited to be here. And today I'm going to share with you Microsoft's approach to artificial intelligence and ways in which you can use Azure AI in your business today. But before we spring ahead, I just wanted to review as to what is artificial intelligence and how we got here today. The very simple and easy definition I could come across was artificial intelligence is computing which imitates human perception and thought. In other words, it is about simulating human intelligence in machines, making them see, hear, speak, and respond back to us just like humans. Let's look at the progression as to where we are today and how we got there. So this journey logic is part of our existence, everyday existence, and we have had philosophers, scientists, inventors in the past giving us all sorts of inventions and concepts by their logic and their work. But formal logic did not exist until the late 1960s and 1970s, which is a field where you derive inferences from data. And what that, as our computing, our ability to data processing was growing, the importance of developing formal logic was a great foundation. And next came the expert systems, and what that was computers being able to specialize in a particular domain. So I have used some computers which were excellent in doing oil exploration from satellite images. And a good example of expert systems reaching its peak was when in 1997, IBM Deep Blue defeated Garry Kasparov, the great grand chess master, in its second attempt on a chess game. Taking it forward as our ability to process went with advancement of technology, we went towards data warehousing and data mining. What it shows is we were developing not only our ability to build our computing, advance our computing skills, but also able to process our data. So data processing capacity of processing data of every type. And that's where data mining took a big foothold. It was towards the 21st century, I would say, data warehousing and data mining kind of came to its peak. But now we are at a stage where we are doing both together, data mining as well as AI at scale. So let's look at what were the three big components which influence getting to where we are. So here, if you look at it, the three big enablers for artificial intelligence were ability to process big data, that is all sorts of data coming in. Our ability to build, over the years, we built powerful algorithms to process all sorts of data. And the third big thing was the advent of cloud computing, where scale was no more a factor for us to process and gain additional insights, as well as do what we are doing today to make machines behave like humans. So Microsoft is heavily invested in research, as well as putting forth AI models for folks, or basically working towards democratizing AI. And what we have done is, in terms of research, we have our research centers distributed through all over the world. But if you look at it, our achievements speak to themselves, that we have achieved human parity on speech recognition, machine translation, machine comprehension, object detection, and along with that, we have also deployed our first FPGA in a data center to enable AI. And our core reasons why we are investing and how we are investing, because most of our products have AI built into them. Bing, our Xbox users, all what has come out has been part of Microsoft research, and also how we are internally deploying our AI research into our own products before we bring them out. So the goal of our investment is to make everybody more productive, be that developer at any skill level, using any language. And since we have tested all our applications with what we are projecting out to, or releasing out to the world, our applications are built for scale, built for scaling, built for enterprises. And in terms of security, we have a multi-layered security, and we have a lot of compliance certifications by geography, by region, government, in every part of the world, so that you can trust that your data is in a safe location. And on top of it, you own and control your own data. So coming to Azure Artificial Intelligence, we have three pillars, keeping in mind the personas of data engineers and data scientists who would be interacting with these artificial intelligence applications. The very first are AI apps and agents. So these are pre-built artificial intelligence models, as well as what do you call it? You can build bots interacting with these models to enhance and automate some of the work which humans would be doing. The next pillar is knowledge mining. There is a lot of latent data in organizations all across the world. And knowledge mining is one of the way not only to organize your data, but to derive valuable insights and relationships on that data. And last comes machine learning. And this is where, this is an area where you have capabilities to teach your machine to learn from the data you provide to them. So let's go at these services one by one. So to build breakthrough applications, we offer a comprehensive set of pre-built AI applications, and these are the cognitive services. So we have cognitive services and a bot building platform to build the automated or ability for machines to interact with a human. So good applications for bot are customers who deal with product and service inquiries, information which the healthcare in the healthcare domain for applications like Symptom Checker. All you need to do is you log in and give your symptoms, and you have an automated assistant trying to tell you what you're what you're affected with, and then what kind of course you need to take to resolve your problems. And similarly, like restaurant reservations, all those hotel bookings, airline bookings, this is a very commonly used platform. So we do have a framework which we provide to you in terms of Azure Bot Service. So let's go into the cognitive service a little more. Like we talked about, artificial intelligence deals with teaching machines how to learn a language, how to see, how to speak, and how to search through to data, and also help you with decision making. So we do have, these are the 4 categories which we were working on, but now lately we added the decision-making capability to our cognitive services. So one of the things which we have come out with the new application which has been released is called the personalizer, where we could make personalized recommendations to anybody trying to work with their application. If you're working on Bing, or if you're on a website trying to make a purchase, the personalizer helps you based on your past history and how you have been interacting with the app as to what will to give you appropriate recommendations. And same thing, personalizer has been used by has been put into works in our Xbox systems, where there are personalized messages sent to each and every millions of users using Xbox. On the vision side, we have Ink Recognizer, where you can recognize handwritten text and also any kind of digital signatures and turn them into presentations. Next comes the interesting one. What I'm showing you today are the new ones which have been added. I'll be showing you all the AI models towards the end of the slide. But in terms of speech, if you are in a meeting with a lot of people sitting, 3, 4, or 5, or how many people in a meeting, there is a ability now. We have an AI model here in an app build which can transcribe what is being discussed in the call, on the call. So you can go and later refer to it rather than take notes in the meeting. So this is something new. It's a conversation transcription capability in our speech recognition cognitive service. So we have been adding more and more updates, new capabilities across the board. You had seen Q&A Maker interfacing with Power BI on the last presentation, which Tonio was showing, where you could basically ask questions and you get answers, and behind the scene, it's the Q&A Maker. And what that does is it's able to read through a catalog and convert it into a question answer form. So in case it can build a knowledge base. So if somebody comes and asks questions from a catalog, the Q&A Maker is able to respond to it, and you can interface it with a bot, and you see it in the ready to go. So similarly, on the decision-making side, we did talk about personalizer, but there is anomaly detector, which can detect any anomalies in terms of time series analysis, and very much used when you have a regular pattern of behavior, and if there is a change, the system is able to detect it. In bank fraud detection is one good example about how anomalies in a system can be detected and reported right away. Other things could be your vehicle performance. Every day there is some kind of diagnostics run, and as soon as there is a deviation, you get a message or email, and that you need to come in and get your vehicle checked up. So we have these readily available to use. On speech side, we talked about conversation transcription capability, but we have text to speech and speech to text, and those models already available, ready to use. And we also have web search, where we can definitely search for anything. The Bing is fully populated with all kind of checks in place to return what you're trying to look for using the web search. So this is our these are ready to use cognitive services in the area of these 5 categories: speech, web search, language, vision, decision, content moderator, very widely used, especially in the last 3-4 months, because more and more folks and school kids are getting on the web, and we need this content moderator to make sure that they are not getting exposed to any kind of profanity or any kind of video coming in. So this is an AI built-in model which could be used as is when you're trying to build your applications or interfaces for folks to work on the internet. So with this background, let's go to, oh yes. So these services, not only they sit in Azure, but they're easily deployable anywhere on containers, so you can have it close to yourself. So it could be on-premise on any of your IoT edge devices or anywhere. Yeah, it's pretty much available on a container, so you have a flexibility to deploy it. So bot service, we have a full framework to build bots. It takes more than it doesn't take more than 5 minutes to come up with a very simple bot. I will show it to you as a demo before we switch on to our next knowledge mining part. So let's. So once you go to Azure portal, it's very simple to get your bot services invoked. You go to bot service, and if you want to create a bot, it'll come up with 3 options. You create a web app bot, or you create a bot channels in case you already you want to interface with external channels, then Teams or Skype, or you want to go to any external channels like Facebook Messenger or Slack, you can register it here. But we have a pre-built healthcare bot, and this is an interesting one, gained a lot of wide acceptance in the last 4 months for COVID periods, where it's pre-built with intelligence, with conversational AI for healthcare. It has all the built-in libraries. It has the security compliance. It's easily extensible, and it has the symptom checker, all the medical content, all the industry library and resources for healthcare. So if somebody is in the field of healthcare, they can easily get started on this bot and do customizations as they want. It's all HIPAA compliant solution, so this is something readily available. But if you want to create a bot, just add I pick web bot, but I'll rather than creating one, I'll just get started with what I have right now. This is the bot I created. It's an Echo bot. An Echo bot, as it sounds, Echo bot will echo what will fully echo whatever you're going to put in there. So I have, okay, let me see. So while it's launching, it's pretty quick. Let me relaunch it. I'll test with web chat. So this is the bot will will replay whatever I put in here. I say hi there, it's going to echo hi there. It's going to say hello. If I say hello, it's going to say hello. It takes like 2 minutes to build it. And once you have built it and you want to customize it, you can download the bot source code, and you can just download it. And if you want to modify it, here is the code. You modify it, just like here it said echo. I just changed the word to welcome. I change it, add more capabilities, integrate it with other cognitive AI apps, and just you have a quick bot ready, like you integrate it with the healthcare resources, it will be fully ready there. So going I have 10 more minutes, so I have to rush through rest of my presentation. So here I come to my knowledge mining. Like I talked about, knowledge mining is the capability to uncover latent insights from all sorts of data. So in an organization, you would have PDFs, HTMLs, any kind of Word docs, messages or emails, all sitting in different places, all kind of company documentation, legal documentation. So what you do, we built Azure Search, and it's a web search, what I showed you on the cognitive side, but it has additional AI built into it to uncover our relationship between these documents. So basically, you ingest your documents, and this application is able to turn that, whatever it has ingested, read through, and turn it into knowledge. So it goes through a lot of very other submodels like language detection, face detection, if there are images, if there are handwritten documents, it goes through different routines and builds a knowledge base. Earlier, so that knowledge base is searchable. Earlier, we could not. So this was it. But now, what we have additional capability is to export this knowledge as a JSON document into Azure Data Lake. And what that gives us is that now you can connect your BI applications or any of your other applications to do machine learning, visualize with Power BI, or infuse it in your applications to make them, to give them more enhanced capabilities beyond just searching the data. Other thing is, this is another one which you see it in legal documentation, in medical. Every time you go into a medical office or your W-2s, they are all in a form format, but these, to transfer them into a digital content, you can either just copy them, but if you need to extract the content, we didn't have any app or any kind of service. So we built that. It's called the Form Recognizer. So what it does, any kind of form put into this, it has gone GA, I believe. So you extract text, tables, and key value pairs from those forms, and this is just a demo that all the forms stack together. Once they are scanned, we pull out all the new content, all the information from that. It's stored as a JSON, and now you have all the data from all the forms, which can be easily searchable. So this is where I have a quick demo on this one before I try to go to the next machine learning part. So everybody is familiar with this, this incident where John F. Kennedy was killed on 22nd November 1963 by an assassin's bullet, and these pictures remind us of that incident. But then all the documents were classified for over 50, 60 years until our president released them 3 years back. So this was like a monument of documents. Everybody wanted to go through it, but as it was released within 2 weeks with the help of Microsoft and Cognitive Services, it was put into a search area where we could just go and look for the document. And let me show a quick demo on that one. It should not take more than minutes. So if you're looking for the word Oswald, it's going to pull out all references to Oswald, all the documents, and the document could be a well-formed document, handwritten document, but anywhere we have the capability, if it has been scanned into our system, we are able to present it to you. But interesting thing is, this is not easy for anybody to read. So if you click on this, you see a converted version of it because it has been read by our cognitive service, the vision service, and has been translated. So if you're looking at this word here, it'll be here. Or if you're looking for Oswald here, it matches with the description you're seeing there, and then that is the translation. And another thing I wanted to show you is I talked about relationships. So all these documents related to that case were put into one big folder, but when you try to pull a knowledge graph, here you see how they are all related. So now, for instance, you see Oswald is connected to Duran, and there is an embassy here, or whoever he's connected to. The moment you click on it, those documents where you see the references for Oswald and in an embassy, you will be able to find it here. So let's see. So you see these documents with embassy and Oswald, they'll all show up. So this is just a quick demo of how we pull just one case here, but the good use case for these kind of search services is pretty much in our legal department or insurances, pharma and chemistry, where they have lots and lots of documents and you do not kind of know what relates to what, and having a graphical representation and things like something like this would help them organize their data at one place together. So this was a use case for knowledge mining application. I did help one of our customers last week to implement something like this for them to be able to go through their document. So this was a high-level implementation. All the structured and unstructured data was scanned and gone through the cognitive search skill set. All these OCR, computer vision, all these models were applied on top of that data, and the final outcome was a structured knowledge and a tabular model as well as a graphical model, and that could be referenced in Power BI. Cool. And in the next 2 minutes, let me go through the machine learning platform. Interesting thing about very simple way to understand understand the difference between traditional programming and machine learning. Like in a traditional programming, you have data, you know what you're trying to solve, and you write a program with all the rules to get the output. But in machine learning, you have the data, you know what you want as an output, but then you want the computer to tell you to pick the right algorithm, or you pick the right algorithm to get closer to your output. So that's a big difference. So if somebody trying to figure it out, what we are really trying is getting closer and closer to output, and that's where the trials come in when you're trying to work with machine learning. Now, what I say a program is, you can call it an algorithm or the best model you're trying to build to get closer to your output. To help with all the developers with their machine learning effort, we have 5 areas of solutioning. So we have domain-specific pre-trained models, which we already discussed. We have familiar data science tools available on which fully integrate with Azure, the VS Code, Azure Notebooks, Jupyter Notebooks, and Command Line. We have full working the frameworks supported on our Azure, PyTorch, TensorFlow, Scikit-learn, ONNX, and ONNX is also supported on Synapse. So if you build a model and you want to score it and work through it on Synapse and Power BI, you can work through it. Productive services, we have the Azure Machine Learning Workspace. I'm going to show it to you quickly. Azure Databricks and Machine Learning VMs to do your machine learning work. And powering all is the powerful infrastructure with CPUs, GPUs, and FPGAs. And whatever models you build, they are not only available on the cloud, but they're easily deployable on the edge as well, because they can be deployed to a container. So this is, so Azure Machine Learning is for all skill levels. We have industry-leading MLOps and DevOps. You already had that big presentation with DevOps. Whatever I'm going to show fully integrates with DevOps. And we have an open framework where any tool and any framework works on Azure. So let me show you a quick demo here of the Azure Machine Learning Workspace. So Azure Machine Learning Workspace, I want to quickly go through that. It is for if you are a very seasoned data scientist and are very much into a code, working with code first kind of person, then we have notebooks, Jupyter notebooks available within the Machine Learning Workspace. And my Machine Learning Workspace is basically another service, but you have everything based on our input from data scientists and data engineers. We built this up, and all you need is access to the Machine Learning Workspace. And here you have your own environment. So Notebook is for a person who is very versed in code. Automated ML is for a new data scientist who is not deep into it. He has a lot of data, but he wants the machine to figure out the best model for it so he can get started right away. So that's where automated ML comes in. And the designer is for somebody who doesn't know how to code well and is new. The designer is a drag and drop interface for you to build and deploy your models. So here you see the authoring, all the authoring environment for anybody code first, a new data scientist or no code. These environments authoring tools are right here. All your assets, experiments, pipelines, models, and endpoints are right here, all the assets. And your ability to manage your compute, data store, and data labeling, all these assets are at one place. So anytime you try to build your experiment, be that AutoML, Designer, so if you want to build a Designer model, you have examples here. You can just pick one of those and get started. It tells you just drag and drop your data, select the data set. You have cleansing routine. All you do is you have to create a model, then you use this module, and it's a drag and drop interface. So I did build an experiment to walk through, which would have shown how Power BI could connect to that model. It was basically, maybe I'll just walk through the outcomes and we'll be done. So this is like a car price, basically a model to predict car prices. And once I built that model in AutoML, but I can run the model right here. This is my experiment I built right here. And I ran it, and once I run what I wanted to show you is when you run the model, the AutoML routine goes and runs your model through at least hundreds of algorithms, and then it comes down to the best model, which in terms of its rating, it ranks it. And then you can choose to deploy it, test it, alter it, modify it. See, here is where you download it, and it'll be ready to go. But this is here, and in Power BI, you can interface with the model. And here, like for instance, I was targeting a column called price, and this is about car prices. If an insurance company wants to, if a car got into an accident and an insurance company wants to predict the cost of that model of car, it runs it through a model. For that, we built this model, and this is an inference coming in from the model we deployed. So if this was the price listed, this is what you also. This is a Power BI connectivity. And so this is a lot to cover in half an hour, but I really enjoyed presenting the capabilities of Azure Machine Learning, as well as all the Azure AI cognitive services. If you need to go further, you can go to our documentation on, just look for documentation for artificial intelligence, or if you need to go to the machine learning workspace, it's ml.azure.com. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Dee. It's Ron Gerber, and I also want to point out that I will make all this content available for all the attendees. You can have the slides available on the slide tab off AngelBeat. Then over the next few days, I will get an 8-hour video MP4 file from Zoom. I'll then edit it out, so each individual presentation will be available on the AngelBeat YouTube channel. Bala, can you share your screen now? And maybe
Thank you.
Dee, you could stop sharing yours.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Hi everyone. Ron, can
Hi,
you
Bala.
see me? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Let's see on the chat window, can everyone else hear Bala as we pull up his presentation full screen? Yes, everyone can hear you. So we've asked Bala, after that fantastic introduction and framing AI ML from Dee, to focus more on real life use cases. All yours.
Thank you, Ron. Always pleasure to be back. Hi everyone. My name is Bala. I'm a cloud solutions architect as well. I'm in the Midwest region, basically located in Milwaukee, the great state of beer and cheese. So today, I'm going to continue what D. Kumar was talking about. Hopefully, you guys had a nice introduction on what is our Azure AI platform itself is. I'm going to talk to you, show you a few examples. If it starts working, here we go. So let's talk about Azure AI's case studies, or what did we do for customers, right? I mean, one of the biggest challenges we have is when a technology is new, there is always a panic, but not necessarily it has to be a panic. It is how we use the technology to show value to the business matters a lot more than what the technology itself, right? So you saw the technology. D. Kumar showed you how AI apps, agents, knowledge mining, and machine learning platform, what it can do. Now I'm going to go through a few of the customer use cases from starting with machine learning. Okay. So you saw the machine learning platform. One of the biggest use case that we used is, you all know BP. I'm sure you all have a car, some form of using gas. So they're going to, somehow you're feeding BP. Especially with BP, what is the problem that they wanted to tackle? They were looking to figure out how to recover the factor of hydrocarbon reserves, so that they can estimate the amount of available extractions at the right place and keep it at the right location and things like that. That seems to be their biggest value, right? I mean, that's the business use case that we were after. And the approach was like, we wanted to see whether if machine learning can do or help in this case to solve their biggest problem. And it did, actually. They were able to empower their, in multiple facets, actually. They were able to provide machine learning services to citizen data scientists, but they're also able to empower their data scientists to do more with our Azure Machine Learning platform, and which actually was part of their whole solution, which got integrated into their existing productivity suites. So that's how AI can be valued, rather than as doing a machine learning means not really there is a value behind the business, right? So this is how it come together with BP, and they were very, very happy about with the solution. And now they are doing a lot more use cases. Yes, there is a challenge of finding the right use cases in these scenarios, but they are looking at various angles and see how AI can help. When I'm saying AI, AI means not just a pre-built AI like cognitive services we have that too, but we also have the custom AI, which is basically your machine learning and the deep learning world. Please do, if you have questions, raise it to Ron, and Ron, please stop me and ask. Now, there was another use case. This is another one that we did for a restaurant industry provider. They have the devices that when you go sit in a Chili's or something like that, there is a tabletop small device that you can order your food, play games. And they also have the mechanism of getting feedback from customers directly from there or through mobile app or the websites. And what they do is like they take all those feedbacks about everything that's happening, especially in this case, it was the menu items and the food ratings. And they actually pass that to the restaurant owners so that they can customize they customize the menu and target it to certain audience, right? That was a humongous it was a game changer in especially in the restaurant world. I know in the COVID world we are not going to restaurants, but this was a huge traction point for restaurant owners to try to figure out what menu items are doing how, and which clientele, so that they were able to target it based on that. And this also they did custom modeling here, so that was one of the aspect that they were using here. They were doing product recommender algorithms, and few other options like that. Schneider Electric. This is not sure how many of you have heard of them. They're kind of like an automation provider for manufacturing field, or like oil and gas, especially. They're big time into it. They do huge machineries that actually tie together, and they run by themselves basically. And more, at least the most of the time. And they also are not in locations where we can just if we decide to go and see the devices, we can't, because they're all over the places. The oil fields are sometimes in the ocean, sometimes somewhere in the boondocks. So it's super hard as well. They embarked the journey with our platform. They also are our biggest IoT customer. But more than that, what they wanted to do is like, because it's in mining and oil well, they wanted to know when the devices are going to break and when they have to do predictive maintenance. That's a huge thing. Just to give you a heads up, if something goes wrong in the oil well and if it stops production, it's like $1 million of loss per day. And also the other part of this is not only the downtime, but if you look at it, if something goes bad, a part breaks or something like that, a drill broke, if they don't have it in inventory, that becomes super challenging, because their turnaround time to get the part could be in weeks and months. So what they did is they embarked a journey to do predictive maintenance. They were able to collect the data points, and they created their own custom algorithm, predictive maintenance model, to figure out which parts are going to fail, so that they can actually alert the supervisor and get them in stock and keep it ready. So in that way, like for example, on an average, if the downtime, this applies to all of the previous use cases I told as well. If the downtime is like about like 3 or 4 hours, it reduced to like 10 minutes. Or in some cases, there were weeks and weeks and weeks, and it reduced to like a day or 2 days, because they have to shut it down and they have to change it, and then they have to bring back all the systems again. They were all built on our Azure Machine Learning platform. Plus, not only machine learning, just not that alone. Then they also used our Azure platform, IoT, Databricks, and all the other services as well. Now, who would have thought that we would have brought AI to beers, right? I'm sure. How many of you drink beers? Okay. I'm hoping you guys are saying yes. Anheuser-Busch, they were actually using in bunch of ways. Not only optimizing their cloud, but also they were looking to do how well the beer can produce based on the carbs that they're getting and where they're getting it from, what the flavor will be, and how much they need to produce. There were so many different use cases that being a beer company, these guys are very good at innovating themselves. And this is one of the digital transformation projects that I really like. And that was Anheuser-Busch. They're a beer company, as you all see. Next, let's go into This is a little bit different use case. So the previous ones I showed you, except most of them are very common, right? Now this one, Reuters, is different, right? Reuters is a news agency, and they're all over the world. They can do a lot of them. These Reuters can do a lot of text analytics and things like that. But what they were doing is, like, we have newly created video analytics projects in machine learning that are popping up now, and they were actually doing that basically. So they were taking all their videos and they were tagging it, and they were trying to use that for their searching. So you are able to search on videos, and it'll pull up articles, and it'll also give you like recommendations of, based on what you're searching, it'll give you which other videos that you might be interested on. Very similar to what we are all amazingly familiar with YouTube, right? So it's very, very, very close to that. Next. Okay, so this one, I think most of you would have seen this. This is a very classical example, and they have been doing this for a long time. Weather prediction has been happening for more than 100 years. Now, AccuWeather came to us and they said, like, okay, we wanted to make it much easier and faster. And what we did is, like, we not only just using the machine learning services to able to predict, they were also trying out the automated ML, like the one that D. Kumar was talking about. And the biggest part that they liked about is, like, they were able to bring in other external data feeds, not only just the weather, but also the local news, the local, the Twitter, what is trending and what are the people talking about. And using all those feeds, they were able to bring a mission, create a model that was able to predict pretty much a little bit more accurate results based on the locality, right? Instead of being generic and based on statistics, they were also using other data points to predict much more accurate. That was one of the biggest challenges that they wanted to tackle. And our platform, since we have the capability to scale as needed, this was a super win for them. Next is going to be, I'm going to go to the, this is a classic retail use case. ASUS is like one of our top retailers, like Gap and Nordstrom and things like that. They're clothes, basically fashion oriented. They were more interested in, like, analyzing the customer behavior and providing recommendations. This is something that you all probably would have come across anywhere. Any online websites that we are doing, any e-commerce based solution and things like that, you will be able to say this. And by the way, for all of these use cases, there's a lot of details available in the website. So feel free to go and take a look and see. Because I might not give you the whole picture here because there is not much time. Now let's go to the pre-built AI part of it, and I want to talk to you about form recognizer. This is something came out very, 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 very new, but it also has one of the most applicable use cases for business users. If you are in a business, we all know that there are so many paper and forms that we need to fill, and it goes through processes and it has to be approved, right from timesheets to service, filling up like field service reports or anything, right? I mean, there is forms all over the place. Now, the form recognizer allows us to automate all of them and make it super fast. In these guys, for the financial, they had so many paperwork that needs to be filled, and they had so many paper documents like PDF and JSONs lying around all over the place. What they were able to do was, like, they were able to take it and electronically convert it. And this will tie to the next few use cases that I'm going to talk to you about. because this reduced the time of a manual process for more than, sometimes it's months, sometimes it's a couple of weeks, sometimes it's more than a month. Now with the automated process, we were able to shrink that into a couple of hours, and they were able to get the insights from those documents, right? I mean, I personally have done a bunch of them also, do inspections or insurance forms, or you're pulling out social security forms or whatever, like, I mean, patent applications, and all of those things are very much candidate for form recognizers. So if you're looking to optimize your business processes, please look at this. This is a tool that can amplify for you. Next, let's go to the bot framework that everybody's interested about. This is where the conversational UI comes in play, right? This is where the natural language comes in play. Bot framework is an interface that allows us to integrate with a lot of other cognitive services. In this case here, you're talking about the football field. They were looking to find insights from what is happening with the fans and what they're doing, what pictures they are taking, who are they talking about. And they also provided an conversational AI piece that they can actually interact with and look at, like, and find out what are the insights the other players are doing and what is happening, who's going to win, what's the score. They were doing so much real time, and they were enabling it with natural language, which is like, instead of me asking, clicking a button or clicking a button and typing it in, here I can actually type it in natural language, and it actually went and did all the magic and showed the results back to me. Now, this bot framework is also very extendable framework, so we were able to connect to their existing systems and also drive insights, and that's how this whole thing became super successful. Next, I'm going to show, this is another one. This is also like a airline industry. We all know this is very common. I've seen this in a bunch of places these days. Like, you can book, you can find the times, you can look at and say, like, hey, how much, how long it's being delayed, or is it canceled? Can I book a new flight? And it also provides you some of the services that extra services that airlines provides, if you have a lounge and things like that. This company also actually did it with chatbot, especially using the natural language. That's the whole theme that actually drives the chatbot. Now, this actually, you can ask me why does it matter, right? I mean, why do we have to do a chatbot? It actually increases your customer satisfaction a lot. We don't have to dial a number, wait for somebody and explain them. Rather, you just get in the chatbot, you just type in question. Somehow the chatbot is smart enough to interact with you and get you the information that you need, and you just go about doing your own things. So that's what the motivational factor for these companies to drive all these use cases. And let's talk about Azure Search. So this is one of my best subjects, not only in terms of engineering. Ron, how are we doing in time?
I would say we've got, we'll get another like 5-7 minutes, if that's okay.
Okay, I'll wrap it up in 2 or 3, and then I'll take some questions.
Okay, great.
Azure Search is another thing that I would ask everyone to go try, because this is somewhere you can get insights from documents, PDF, databases, or images. We have our search that is integrated with our cognitive services, so it can read a PDF, it can read images, it can read sometimes videos, and you can actually take that and index it, and allows them to provide insights to you. All of these use cases, the slides will be shared, and you can take a look at it. The idea is, like, go crawl everything and build in a database, and then you can actually do graph models, or you can actually do search, and you can make some do a lot of R&D use cases, which I mean I've personally used this for a lot of my customers as well. There are a few more like that. You can actually look at it. I'll allow it to you. Hopefully this was helpful. These are some of these companies that they leverage most of our AI services, just not one. I mean, some of these logos have been part of it, so definitely know they're using it. So that's pretty much I wanted to talk to you guys today about. Ron, any